Hello everyone, my name is Roy Cornwall, alias The Teller. It's the 22nd of December 2023 at 10:48 in the afternoon, in the morning, sorry. Um, this is part two of my friends on Mars. I was back on Earth. I have to, I found out that I have to retreat myself back to Earth to get strong again. I was getting weaker and weaker on Mars. But as soon as I got strong enough, I would go back to Mars. Um, my friends on Mars, they were very concerned of me going home and not coming back. Um, uh, we're we're on the Zoom from Mars to Earth. I'm on Earth, they're on Mars. And I asked them through Zoom because through Zoom you can have a lot of people there. There was about, I don't know, 15 of them of both species, the reptilian species and my friends. And I said to them, I'm just getting weak. I've got to stay here till I get strong. A month. Well, through the months we were talking through this Zoom program, and I think they thought that I was just grappled with them in some way. Uh, for them, me telling them everything and them not telling me anything. So they both said we. They looked at each other and they said to us, me. They said, "We both want to show you more." I said, "Well, what do you mean more?" He says, "Well, the next time you come, which was only a couple more days at that point, we'll show you and then you'll know." I said, "Okay." Look, at this point in my life is, I'm used to these massive changes in my life. Things that would freak people out happen regularly, and I'm used to it now. So, okay, time comes, I get in the machine, I come back to Mars, and they're standing there waiting for me. I come I call it the transporter room. Like I came out of there, and they were excited. I said, "What's got you guys in a good mood?" He says, "We've got permission to show you." Okay. Well, I was hungry. I wanted to eat first and get myself settled, and then put my suit on, and we all walked out. Um, they to get around, they had this thing that looked like a couch. You sat on it, and it just I think you mentally thought where you wanted to go and it would take you there. We got on this thing, and I didn't do this because I didn't know where we're going. But they did. They thought of where they and this thing just took off, and away we went. And I'm sitting. I remember sitting there with my arm up on the chair on the end of the coffee couch, and I'm looking at things, smiling. This is good. I'm on a couch. I'm flying around Mars. People wouldn't believe me, right? So the good aliens. I said, "Where are we going?" He says, "We're going to the reptilian central," they called it. And I said, "This must be where they live," and they want to show me. So we went in this cave and we went down a long way. I don't know how far down we went, but it was dark. It was dark on the way down, but it was getting warmer. So by the time we got down into the area that these reptilians lived, it was rather warm. I started taking my coats off. I couldn't take my breathing off because I couldn't breathe down there. So um, we go. This thing lands in a small area, like our small room. We all get out and we start walking through a doorway. And we go into another room, and then we go into the outside. What I call outside, it was a big, massive cave, massive. But it looked like it was outside because it looked like there was a sun up there, and they had everything there. There were birds flying around, their type of birds, not like on Earth, but there was, and there were, they, they had their own, when they found out about Rusty and found out that they should love, they started bringing some of the good species in, and they had these things that looked a lot like, uh, it looked like a monkey, but it wasn't as developed as a monkey. And but it was very loving, like a dog. It had all the characteristics of a dog, right? And they had a lot of these. They weren't running free. People took care of them and that. But I was astounded because this is a species that didn't love anything but themselves. And the very fact that there's one of the nice aliens are with me. He's down inside this central, which telling me that these people have made a big jump in their brain of how to get along and stuff. They took me down there, and I took extra oxygen with me, and they took me down there for, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours, and they showed me everything, how they made their power, though I didn't understand it. Um, what they ate for food was growing. Uh, these reptilians you think would be a carnivore species, but they weren't. Um, they grew up virtually everything. And some things were made like a chemical compound that they had to take. I didn't quite understand that. I think it gave them something that they were lacking, like a vitamin or something. They showed me how many people were there. There had to have been this. There was. I said, well, in this cave that I saw, there was at least 2 million people there. It was the size of Toronto. It was a huge cave. And I said to him, how many more caves like this? He said, 3. So I'm assuming that there's a billion people, or pretty close to it, uh, of these reptilians living underground there, right? So I gave a speech, which I didn't have to say a word for, just thought. Stood up in front of everybody so they could see me. And I gave them a speech on love and, you know, how wars are bad, you should never go there. How giving is the central key to getting along. And they didn't want to see me go. They wanted to hear more. They actually wanted me to bring Rusty the next time, my cat, so they could see Rusty. They'd never seen the cat, right? Picture this in reverse. Wouldn't you like to see everything the alien had? Pets, well, yeah, okay, it's the same thing. So, I'm getting hungry. I've been there 4 or 5 hours. I'm getting hungry. I gotta go back. So, they didn't want me to go. I actually had to pry myself from them. They weren't holding me, but they let me know that I was well loved there. Right? I remember walking out of that place saying, this must be what Jesus feels when he's loved by a lot of people. How it feels. I told them all, I said, I'll be coming back. I said, I'm your friend, and I'm going to be coming back, and we're going to have long talks. Because this is what they wanted. They wanted me to speak to them. Got back on this, didn't look like a couch, but you sat on it, right? And it took me back up to the surface and dropped me off right in front of the hab. I got out, went inside, the two, what did they call them? Batmen? But they gave me one from each race to communicate with me. They came in with me, and I was eating lunch, and they saw me eating meat. And they said, what is that? Because they're always asking, what's this, what's that? And I said, that's a cow. We eat meat on Earth. Chickens, cows, you know, we eat meat. They didn't understand this. So I set them both up in front of the computer and ran some things on agriculture, on what we ate through growing and what we ate through harvesting animals. They didn't like that. They came out there saying, "Are you going to eat us?" I said, "Of course not. You're a higher elevated species. We don't eat anything that's cognitive. We don't eat the dogs. We don't eat the cats. But these other animals, they're there, but they don't have a brain. So, and we have to eat something. There's 8 billion of us, and our eyes opened up. I said, yeah, we got to feed all these fish. So we take our food wherever we can get it. But don't worry, we're not going to eat anything from your world. We can't. There's nothing here we can eat. Not even you guys. Even if we killed you guys, we couldn't eat you guys. I said, don't worry about this. And the reptilian, he says, can I try it? I was surprised at this. He said, so I cut him off a little piece of my steak, and I'm in the fork. I handed him the fork, and he didn't know that. I said, put the meat in your mouth and pull the fork out. He goes, and he starts eating. Right? And I can see his eyes getting bigger and better, wider. And a smile came to us. I think I've only seen this being smile maybe once, twice, 3 times maybe. And this was one of them. He says, that's meat? That's another animal? I said, yes, it is. He says, that was the best tasting thing I've ever eaten. He said, so when the gray aliens heard this, they wanted to try. So uh, now, uh, now they're turned on to this meat business, right? And they want to know how they can get this for their people, right? So we, because I needed Earth's help with this, had a communication session between Earth and me and the beings beside me, and we said to them that we're going to ship you up a couple of 3 or 4 cows. Don't eat them. Let them propagate. Let them have babies. We'll show you how to do all this. And let the herd grow. I said, what's a herd? A herd is a bunch of these. How many are you going to need for a billion people? A lot of cows, I said. So what are you going to feed these beings? So these 4 were on a trial run to see if there were plants up there. They fed them the plants. They seemed to be fine with that, right? And anything else they needed, like oats or whatever, we had to bring them from Earth. So we're doing this for them for no charge, right? So they finally get the herd up to about 15 or 20, and it comes time to kill one of them. So we had a butcher come from Earth for the day, and he showed them how to humanely kill one and butcher it down, and how to keep the meat and keep it cold, and if you keep it cold, you can store it for later, and how to cook it. We had sent a chef up with them. So between the butcher and the chef, they knew everything they needed about cows, including the fact that you can get milk from them. So they never tasted milk, so I had a little cardboard container of milk. I gave each one of them, opened it up for them, and they drank some. And they didn't like it at first, but they finished it. So uh, here we are, my race giving to them left, right, and center, right? Now, it was at this time that I asked them, I said, you know your secret of the root? Longevity, cures diseases and stuff? Yes. I said, my people have been asking for this because we've got people dying of sickness on our world, and disease and old age, and we could really use this. At this point, they know we were. They'd seen it on the computer. They accessed it. They didn't want to give us the route as long as we were in a warring mode up there. So, okay, they said no, but we're not going to stop trying because they've seen the benefits that it's had with me, right? I said to them, I said, well, instead of giving it to my whole race, would you give it to certain people? People that I can vouch for, that are good people, and they're not going to harm you. And they thought about this for a while, and they said yes. So Fran was up there with me, and she's getting older, right? And I'm still like 25. So the first thing I said to them, I said, can you bring some root for Fran. And they did. Fran drank it, and Fran loved it. She returned back to 25 years old. She was stunningly beautiful at that age. Um, uh, so now it's time to go to the gray aliens. Now, technologically wise, they're both about even. And I would say pretty close to Earth, just in a different way each. So, back on the couch, take off. And the reptilian people, they came with us, two of them. And we went, it was all underground and stuff. We went down and we saw, what I see was a highly technological race with floating cars, and the buildings were, they knew gravity because they didn't build even the buildings on the ground. They built buildings on the walls, and so they knew gravity. I'm chalking all this up. They got gravity. I said, what do you drink for water? He says, we get our water from the air, condensation. I said, well, uh, our uh, assumption of this planet is that there's a big reservoir of water beneath you. So we had the drilling rig guys come up, and they drilled a rig. And as soon as they broke through the water started going up. They capped it. They could not believe they'd never seen that much water. I said, now you can have a lake. See this low-lying area? Fill that full of water, and you can go swimming in it. They never swam. So we did the same for the reptilian race. We gave them water, a lot of it. And they loved that. Everything we did was for them. And they knew it. And we were being kind with them and giving them everything. So when these little monkey things, they were about this big. They were about the size of a dog. I made, well, it wasn't a mistake, but you can't say just anything in front of these people. They'll ask you about it. I said, that looks like my dog I used to have. What's a dog? So I take them back in my apartment, show them the thing on dogs, a bunch of them, right? He says, how come you don't have one? I said, well, just the distance between Earth. I could probably have one. You want me to have one? I said. He goes, yeah, they want to see one. So we got a puppy. It was a Labrador, black Labrador puppy. And it came through the window, and he saw me. He was afraid of me at first, but got used to me. Then we got him used to the reptilians and that. And I showed the reptilians and the aliens how to pat him, what he likes, what he doesn't like, what he eats. I said, when he grows up, he's going to be your friend, I said. Now, when the dog had to go outside to go pee, I had to put a helmet on him, like a bubble, on his head. And he carried a little oxygen thing on him, and he was fine that way. Because it was a little bit cold on Mars. We were right on the equator, and it would get up to 70 degrees certain times of the year. And he wouldn't need a coat. But other times they'd have to put a coat on him, and he'd go out for a long time till the buzzer started ringing in his head, and the voice told him to go home now, and he would come home. Because he knew he almost got caught once. He didn't come home, and I had to go and get him. He was almost out of air, and he was having a hard time breathing, so he figured it out. Now, so when these aliens come over, my cat's here on the top of the couch behind me. My dog's on my lap, and I'm patting him, right? And Fran's there sitting beside me. And they're looking at me, loving everything, right? And I said, yeah, this is what you gotta do. You gotta love everything. He says, even the, now, there was another race that came visiting every once in a while, once every 5 years or something. And they weren't good. They came and took whatever they wanted and left, right? And they told me about this race. And I talked about them. They talked about their technological, I said, Are they smarter than you? Well, not really. They're more meaner than we are. And they steal when we don't steal. Um, I said, well, that's not right. For them to come here and just take what they want and they don't give nothing in return? Yeah, that's right. So, okay, the threat's not immediate, and I'm thinking about this. So I get on the tube to the earth and I say to them, I tell them what's happening up here. We've got two friendly races to earth, and there's a third one picking on them, bullying them into taking whatever they want. They come here, the alien spaceship, they got spaceships, and so does the reptilians. And they've been taking those as well. So after I got all my data, right, their technological advancements weren't anywhere near what these other guys had, and was even lower than what we had. And I think that's why they stole, right? So I said to them, I said, do you want us to help you stop that? And a big smile again, guys. The third time I seen this, well, yeah. We don't want them here. They're not welcome. At least with you, we've invited you. But we don't want them around us. They just nastiest bunch of people you ever seen. So I left this in Earth's hand. I said, they just came before I came, so that about 5 years from now it's going to happen again. And this was uh, uh, I said to the people on Earth, I said, well, I can't do anything about this. Can't do anything about this. I'm in a different mode with these people. I can't start killing. So I said to the alien race and the reptilian race, I said, would you be okay if we sent 5 or 10 Marines up here? What's a Marine? And I showed them on the computer what a Marine was. It says they won't do any harm to you or to you, either one of those races. I said, but when these people come, we're going to shoo them away and they'll never be back again. So time comes, 5 years come, the alien race, their ships were noisy and loud, and I think they polluted the environment a bit. So they landed right up front of the hab, arrogant people, right? So I got on the blower right away to Earth, and they sent these 10 Marines, fully loaded arms, everything they had, everything. And I showed them, I said, see these people here? I said, they're not welcome here. This is their planet, and they're not wanting them here. So, the commander of that group put on his suit and walked out to talk to them. And when he came back, he says, no, they're gonna have to go. We gotta get them out of here. So 20 or 30 more people came, and they went out again. This guy, he says, you leave now or you won't be leaving. And they didn't leave. So the Marines took care of those boys. They had rocket launchers and missiles, and they had everything there. They disabled the ship and took these beings into their. The reptilians had a jail down there. We put them all in there. There was about 20 of them on this ship, because we found out that it was only this ship. There wasn't any more of them. They were like pirates floating around, and they were just looking for easy prey. So they destroyed their ship and put them in jail. And the reptilians were complaining about having to feed them. Right? So I said to them, I said, look, we can either kill them, we can send them on their way, or we can hold them here in the jail. What do you want to do? Well, they don't want to kill, and they don't want to hold them, so we're going to put them in a ship, one of their ships, and send them away. This ship is pre-programmed to send them it's right across the galaxy. We're so far they'll never get back. So that's what they did. They put them all in there and sent them all away. And as they're flying away, you could see both of these factions, the reptilians and the gray aliens, all were joyful, freaking out. They were on the surface, in which they never ever came up here. I think it was because of these other beings they never came up. But as they were leaving, they were jumping up and down and cheering and hollering and screaming and acting up like they do, not like humans, but like they do. I knew they were very happy. Um, Fran took the route, so she became. I I remember saying to him, I said, "Will this route work on Tippy? Tippy's the dog, and Rusty's the cat." I said, "If I give them, yeah, it'll work on them. But we've never known it not to do any harm to anybody, so I gave it to them, and they never died either." So the only time I had to leave was to go back to Earth to get strong here. The gravity there, they get strong. They didn't like that, but they understood that, right? I always came back. Um, they started trusting. Oh, hey, I made them perfectly aware that, just because I'm nice doesn't mean to say everybody on Earth is nice. There are some factions there that are pure evil, I said, and we fight against them. So they knew not to trust every human, but they trusted me, and if I said it was okay to come, it was all right with them. So it started out with my brother coming. He was freaked. He, like, I don't know. I guess I'm laid back and some. I don't get scared very easily, right? But John, it. I had to really work on him for a while. But after a while, he caught on and calmed down. And he was like me. He believed in the Lord and that. So yeah, I was all right. I made up in my mind that nobody's coming to this planet that didn't believe in the Lord. Even those Marines believed in the Lord. Right? So nobody got killed that day, and we got rid of their menace, and they were very happy about that. The big thing was, the really big thing was, is that this kindness that I've been trying to show them and love, showing them through the first 3 or 4 people that came, filtered down into their races. And now they're starting to come out and approach each other on the surface. If this happened in the past, that meant war. But they're they're hugging. They're starting to have. I said to them, I said, look, once a year, everybody's got to come to the surface, and we have like a big party, and games and gifts. And everybody, you give gifts to them, they give you something like Christmas almost, you know. And they love that. Come that day, man, it was. I could hear them. In the Habs, generally everything's dead quiet. The machine will beep off or whatever. But this day, when it happened, I could hear an awful lot of people. There had to have been a billion people up there. From horizon to horizon, I could see nothing but people. And they weren't fighting, they were getting along. They loved the idea of having that lake. Each one of them having a lake they could swim in. And having that much water made them content. They were always worried about, we're going to have enough water this month. They had to govern how many people were being born and jive that with how much water they had and food. But since now they have cows, and eventually we turned them on the chickens, and we showed them our way of life as best we could. Now they showed us a lot, especially with that route. And some of their technology was just incredibly advanced, like anti-gravity. And so eventually they showed me their airport, I call it. And it's where they keep their spaceships. It's underground, and they come out through a tunnel. They took me down in there, and they showed me their spaceships. I didn't fly in one right away. I went in and looked around, and they told me this is that, and that's this, and stuff. But later on, they let me go up in it, and that was really a thrill for me. We, we flew around, and I said, "Could this fly to Earth?" He goes, "Yeah, we do it all the time." I said, "Well, that's this is how like some of the things that we've seen are you?" Yeah. He says, "Earth is like Earth is like a bus stop or a gas station." He says, "If we want to go over to the next galaxy over, which is directly opposite your planet's out the end of one of these spiraling arms, and we go to your planet, refuel them water, food, fix the ship, whatever we need, pick up people because they're going that way, and we head out towards the other galaxies. We go fast because there's nothing between that galaxy and us. We can't go fast from here because we're going to hit something. So we go slow out to the edge of your planet. We leave. That's why you see so many of us." I said, "Well, what about abductions?" I said, "You're not taking us, are you?" "No, no. We don't take you guys. Those are other bad people that come. Bad neighbors, he called them." So, okay. Um, I know enough that when I've given enough to these people to back off and let them digest it. And we've removed the pirates that were coming and causing great harm to these people. And we've shown them the cows and what to eat. And how to love is a big one. And my brother being there really helped a lot because he lived with the gray aliens for a while. I had to keep giving him. He'd come back and get three canisters, big canisters of air, and that was enough because he could breathe a bit of their air, but not unless it was enriched with oxygen. So it would last a long time. And the aliens, I couldn't go live with them, and they couldn't live with us. So what we did is I asked Earth to make an extension on the hab, and, like a room that they can live in. I could see them through the window, and there's a door that that I could go into their room. And I did this because my brother's living with the gray aliens, and these people, you gotta be fair, right? So uh, the gray aliens, the reptilians, they lived with me. Three or four of them lived in this hab, and they could go out and continue their day, but they used that room for themselves. And my brother's living with, you know, with the gray aliens. This went along really well for about, I don't know how long it is. I'm living forever here now. Uh, the only way I have any idea of how long or time or anything is I have to retreat to the hab and check in. Um, People I was talking to regularly on Earth have died, old age, and moved on. And I felt guilty about this because I've got this root. So I started a program where people have to come to live with the hab, and I live with them for a while, see if they're okay in the head. So many mental people here on Earth, all thinking that they're the center of the universe, and what can I get out of this, and how bad can I make this situation? These people, I didn't want them on Mars, so I vet them pretty closely. Um, we've got about 20 people, around 20 people, who took the route, right? Now, I said to people on Earth, I said, "Well, I've got the root in my system." I said, "Why can't you just take a blood sample?" And for reasons unknown to me, he says, "We can't do that." I don't know if it was because they wouldn't allow it, the species on the other planet, or whether they couldn't do it. They couldn't synthesize it. So there we are. It's up to Roy whether you get the root or not. And we got up to 20 people, and at the 20-person mark, we had a party at the hab, and we invited everybody, and there was so many people they couldn't get in the hab. I mean, you got to be careful when you say everybody because they're going to bring everybody, right? So after that, I had parties, yeah, but they were restricted to the hierarchy of both races. Uh, they honestly thought they couldn't do enough for me. That I was doing everything for them, and And I never really asked for anything back. Never asked for anything back. And I think that was made a big point with those people. So whenever I'd go back to Earth, I'd give them a talk. You be good. Don't you fight back together. You work together, and all this. So uh, here I am going back and forth from Mars to Earth, Mars to Earth, and that's the way it was for a very long time. Now there's going to be a part three to this, and uh, we'll let you digest this for a little bit. But being on Mars is a real trip. It's 1/3 the gravity of Earth, and you can't really breathe the air there. And if you pick the wrong time of year, it can be sub-zero outside. But the right time of year on the equators are about 70. So I like that. That's when I did my outside stuff. So everybody, um, stay kind and be strong. Because if you're weak and in the hospital, you can't help nobody. And blessings, everyone. Be kind. Bye bye.